I kept telling myself I needed to release another update video on how my fat loss phase has been going, but for, I kid you not, the last month I've been postponing and postponing because of the sheer amount of content that I've had to release. But over 2 months later, I forced myself to make this video. So let me walk you through what has happened along with some adjustments that I made to my nutrition. My goal was to lose 20 pounds, almost 10 kilos. I've lost 16 pounds, a little over 7 kilos. I took a week break from calorie restriction during April because I was a groomsman in my friend's wedding, and why would I make myself suffer just to get ahead in my physique goals by just 1 week? I enjoyed myself, still tracked, and once I got home, I buckled down again and went straight back into my calorie deficit. Now, how about that deficit? Have I had any issues? Definitely. Many of the predictable issues that I mentioned last videos are beginning to show. I'm far hungrier than before. My spontaneous activity levels, also known as non-exercise activity thermogenesis, are at rock bottom. I can feel that my movements are far more efficient. For example, I no longer shake my leg when I'm sitting, which I tend to do when I'm eating more. I also feel calmer mentally, probably because I'm slowly turning into a zombie. Now, how has my weight tracked? At the end of March, I was still in the 220-pound camp, so about 8 pounds down. I decided to drop my calories further, so I started at a 500-calorie deficit, then went to a 600-calorie deficit, and then at the end of March, I went down to a 1,000-calorie deficit. Hilariously, the next time I weighed myself, I actually gained almost 2 pounds, but considering I've been doing this for over 10 years, I just shrugged and waited. Sure enough, 5 days later, I lost almost 2.5 pounds. So water fluctuates a lot. So I never believe I've gained fat or anything of the sort, especially since I'm regimented about my tracking. Then I decided to ramp things up even further and cut my calories down to a 1,300 calorie deficit. Now, let me pause here. When I say a 1,300 calorie deficit, I mean that from my maintenance calories before dieting. As I mentioned, my spontaneous movement is down. I'm sure my thyroid hormone levels, T3, are reduced. So no doubt my metabolism has slowed. So it's not a 1,300 from where it is now, but 1,300 from where it normally is when I'm eating what my body needs to maintain my weight. You should always keep that in mind, that your body will adapt and adapt continuously, putting up a fight against you losing body fat. That's why I keep having to drop calories. Anyway, I dropped to a 1,300 calorie deficit that I mentioned, which who knows how much of a real deficit that is at this point. But since then, which was, I guess, like a month ago, I've lost another 3 pounds or so. In terms of my performance, meaning gym performance, my strength is maintained completely. All my lifts are still where they were pre-fat loss. They're a little harder to accomplish, but I still get all of my weights, sets, and repetitions. So the 200 grams of protein I'm consuming plus training is doing its job at maintaining my muscle mass, spurring on as much fat loss as possible with the conditions that I've created. Now, in terms of how I eat, I now fast all day. I lift weights around 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., then head to the lab or work on physionic material until about 7 p.m. Then I inhale food for 2 hours from 7 to 9 p.m., making it about a 22-hour fast. And then I head to bed and repeat. The foods I eat are getting lower and lower in carbohydrates, but before the low carbers shake congratulatory hands, I'm only doing that because carbohydrates are the easiest to cut, since I need the protein to preserve my muscle and fats to preserve my hormones as best as they can. So I've been eating my protein in salad form instead of pasta form. That's the simplest switch. Overall, I feel good. Water has certainly been my friend during the 22 hours of not eating, and beyond that, the distractions of work have supplied me with alternative thoughts to food. My physique has changed a good amount. I'm pleased with the results so far. I haven't needed to dip into my ultimate bag of nutrition tricks, but if I do, I will certainly let you know. Hopefully sooner than 2 months from now. I may still aim to just hit my goal, but depending on how I feel, I may go a little bit beyond. Anyway, until next time, whenever that is.